It was warm. Something soft was touching my shoulder. Someone called to me as they shook my arm. That pleasant voice and gentle warmth piped the sleepiness from my mind. Not need to fuck Elika!
やっと起きてくれましたね。
Why has the gracious of all goddesses of goddesses has came to see us?
エリカ。
はい、エリカです。
Yo! For some reason I had fallen asleep on Shion's bed, and now Elika was peering at me. I stared intensely at her carefree smile, unable to come to grips with what it was that I was looking at.
なんです？宇宙人でも見たような顔して。
いや。
ほらほら、早く顔を洗
I'm
って
so
きてください。
confused. Elika grabbed my hand and tried to pull me from my bed.
私はシーツを回収してから朝食の支度をしますから。
ああ。
Is this like an alternate reality?
どうしたんです？今さら私の美しさに見とれなくても。
そんな冗談はともかく。
Oh, and yeah, he kind of hit her with
気にし
that.
ないでくれ。どうも夢見が悪かったらしい。
なんでしたら夢判断でもしましょうか。
できるのか？
いえ、適当に。
エリカの適当な判断なんて聞きたくない。
She would definitely come up with some worthless explanation anyway. I scratched my head and got out of bed.
はい、
Why
は
is Elika here?
い。嫌な夢なんて早く忘れて、今日という日を楽しみましょう。
Elika clapped her hands together and spoke cheerfully. Okay, now this shit's getting weird.
良き一日の始まりは美味しい朝食からですよ。
What is happening? Is Ryou losing it? She gave me a light push on the back as I headed for the door. Okay, no, he really is losing it. You know, he really is losing it. Got it. When I reached the washroom, I found it already occupied.
Oh,
why is the whole gang just here?
おは
Mayor.
ようございます。
I quickly saluted Mayor. I said Mayor. Major Inaba, who was facing the mirror, shaving his whiskers with a razor.
おはよう。
The Major quickly rinsed off his razor and casually wiped his mouth with a towel.
というか、何を敬礼してるんだお前は。お前はもう民間人だろうが。まあ、癖になっちまってるのはわかるがな。
The Major smirked and hit me on the shoulder. He hadn't changed. The same sloppy soldier he had always been.
俺もさっさと退役しちまいたいんだがな。
He grinned as he loosened his collar, looking a little depressed.
長いこと給料もらっちまってるし、部下のことも考えると簡単にやめられないんだよ。
あなたほど宮遣いが似合わない人も珍しいですね。
朝っぱらから言ってくれるじゃないか。ま、その通りなんだけどな。
I don't know what's going on. He hit my shoulder again, a little harder this time, and left the washroom. I looked in the mirror and tilted my head. I felt the same out of place feeling I had when I saw Elika's face earlier. Far from fading, it was growing stronger and stronger. Wasn't I forgetting something important? Oh fuck. What's going on now, Ryou? Alright, where's Lavi at? An incredibly nostalgic sight was laid out before me. A sight I never should have been able to see again. My lost past.
おはよう、りょう。
姉さん。
Natsume. The very sight of my sister sitting at the living room table. My chest fell. I felt like it was burning.
どうかしたの？
なんでもない。
Yo, when it's the end of the world, it brings back the dead.
ずっと立ってないで、座ったら？
ああ。
I sat in front of her, trying to contain how shaken I was.
エリカと稲葉注意。じゃない。少佐は？
エリカは洗濯。少佐は身支度でもしてるんじゃないか？
ああ、 エリカは朝からよく働くわね。それに引き換え、いつもギリギリまでもたもたしてるんだから。あれじゃいつになったら出世できることやろ。
少佐は別に出世したくないんじゃないか？
それじゃあダメよ。
She shook her head, her face stern.
進歩のない男の言葉なんか聞く耳持たないわ。稲葉少佐にはそう言ってあるの。
厳しいな。
まあ出世じゃなくてもいいけど、自分のやることを見つけて頑張ってる男じゃないと私は嫌よ。
自分のやること。
What they should do, huh? My hunch was I too had something like that. Something I had to put everything on the line for, that I had to accomplish no matter what.
やっぱりどこかおかしくない？
俺が？
さっきからジロジロ私の顔見てるじゃない？そろそろ亮も姉離れしないと。
そんなんじゃない。
When I tried to answer, my voice started to shake. I couldn't believe I was able to meet my sister again. This out-of-place sensation kept growing, and I was starting to feel a little impatient.
まあいいわ。亮にだっていろいろあるものね。
My sister smiled sweetly.
亮はもう大人で、自分の大切なものを見つけ出したんだものね。
姉さん。
だから休憩はここまで。
姉さん。
My smile. Okay, that was no. Okay, that was a weird transition. Okay, now the ending of the story is getting, it's honestly kind of dragging, and it's now if you don't like to just throw in random shit. My smiling sister and I were standing in the place we once said goodbye. Yes, she and I said farewell on this very spot and never met again.
短い夢は終わり、長い現実がまた始まるのよ。
ああ、また夢か。シオンには現実を見ろとか言っておきながら。
誰の現実にだって辛いことくらいあるわ。夢の中で幸せな光景を見て、それのどこが悪いの？逃避なんかじゃないわ。いいえ、逃避だって構わない。亮は現実で戦い続けてる。私とお別れしたあの日から、いえ、そのずっと前から戦ってきたんでしょ？
ちょっと戦いすぎたみたいだけどな。
少佐。
だがお前の戦いももうすぐ終わる。頑張ったな。
俺は何もしていない。ただいつも失いたくないものがあっただけなんだ。
誰にだって大事なものがある。それを守るために戦い抜いてきたお前を俺は誇りに思うよ。
私も誇りに思うわ。私にとっても稲葉君にとっても亮は弟のようなものだもの。
Bruh.
姉さん、少佐。
Aleka!
さあ、それじゃあ亮君はそろそろ行かないと。
エリカ。
Aleka stood there like a phantom with a smile on her face.
亮君がこちらに来るのはまだ少し先のこと。いいえ、ずっと来てほしくない。そうですね。来ちゃダメです。
He's talking to the alright, he's
亮
talking
君は生きるんです。
Yeah, he's talking to dead people. He's talking to dead people right now. Straight up. They just came to go say hi to him real quick, see how he's doing.
何があっても諦めることなく、最後まで自分の未来を。で、わざわざ言わなくても普通に生き延びそうですね。
Yo, only 4K was
そ
good.
りゃ私の弟だから。
We're at the end of this visual novel and things are starting to get pretty weird.
諦めない。後悔しない。自分がしたいことをする。亮にはそういう生き方が似合うな。
My sister nodded silently at the mayor's smile.
はいはい。それじゃあ亮君、あの子が待っていますよ。
ありがとう。
それは私たちのセリフです。 りょうくんに会いに来たのは単なるおせっかいですからね。りょうくんはもう自分で正しい道を選べるから。
Alika, my sister, the major, the people who had shown me the way forward were all smiling and urging me to keep going. These kind people had always been there for me, right by my side. Oh my god. They love... It was warm. Something soft was touching my shoulder. Someone called to me as they shook my arm. That pleasant voice and gentle warmth wiped the sleepiness from my eyes. There we go. There we go. And now we're back. Hey, Shion's awake though.
起きた。
In a panic, I lifted my head and checked around me. Shion was sitting upright in bed, staring intently at me. I should have been watching over her as she slept, but at some point I had apparently slumped over on the bed and fallen asleep
すごい
myself.
体勢で寝てた。
悪い。
When I checked the clock, I saw noon had long since passed. Although I remembered everything up to this morning, I hadn't been sleeping well recently and must have reached my
私
limit.
はいいけど、寝るならちゃんと寝ないと疲れが取れない。
ああ、
いい夢見てた？
え？
りょうの寝顔、幸せそうだった。
見てたのか。
うん。しばらく眺めてた。可愛かった。
Bruh.
忘れてくれ。
I had a general idea of what I saw in my dream, and indeed, I think it was a very nice dream. Though it had been short, I got the feeling I was able to recover just a little bit of the time I should have never been able to return
い
to.
や、夢のことなんてどうでもいい。シオン、目が覚めたんだな。
見ての通り。
Shion suddenly tried to stand, her smile a bit strained.
おい、何を？
今日はなんだか体調がいいの。
外に行きたいんだろ。
正解。
ちょっと待て。
I held her back with both hands as she tried to get out of bed. Under no circumstances could she just get up that suddenly.
今さら止めはしないが、急がないでくれ。このところずっとベッドの上でろくに歩いてもいないだろう。
歩けないってほどじゃない。だからちょっとだけ手伝って。
わかった。
If she said she could walk, then that was that. And if she couldn't, I just had to help
外
her.
に出るなら着替えて髪もきちんと溶かそう。シオンは女の子なんだからな。
All right. God. I have no idea how much longer we have left in this. I feel like I need to stop. They just keep figuring out how to... It feels like they're just dragging it. It actually feels like the story is just dragging now at this point. God dang. This is not a good feeling, and I'm tired. Alright, last scene. Last scene. This is the last scene. If this scene doesn't end on a really interesting note, then we're just stopping here. We headed outside after she got herself dressed. Shion's legs had practically withered away. If she didn't cling to me, she wouldn't have been able to walk, and yet, she looked like she was doing well. The way she looked in a clean set of clothes, letting her neatly brushed hair flutter as she walked, it felt divine in a way.
今日も本当にいい天気。
少し風があるが、日差しが暖かいな。
She's
あったかくて気持
she's
ちいい。
glowing pretty
行こう
a
か。
lot actually. She's really glowing. Wow. It's like she's not there. Shion smiled and held onto my arm. Her own arms were frail and lacked strength, disturbingly so.
ごめん、りょう。
腕の1本や2本いくらでも貸すさ。
私、最近、ごめんとありがとうばかり言ってる気がする。
どっちも別に言わなくてもいいのにな。
What I desired weren't apologies or gratitude. If only you would simply smile, that would be enough for me.
研究所にいた頃は、ほとんど言ったことなかった。私、いつもわがままだったの。
わがままくらい言ってもいいんだ。君は誰にとっても大事な存在なんだから。
自分でもそう思っていたのかもしれない。私、ずっとわがままを通してきた。
いいんだよ、いいんだ。
ありがとう。
You said it. I walked slowly, keeping in sync with Shion. I made sure she wouldn't fall, and that I could catch her even if she did. Okay, is the scene again?
鶏たちの声が聞こえない。
The call and flapping wings of the chickens behind the house had been obnoxiously noisy until recently. Shion wasn't fond of the first thing in the morning, but now that it was quiet, it was lonely in its own way.
卵を産まなくなってたみたいだけど、みんな元気なの？
元気だよ。あいつらがいないと我が家の食生活が貧しくなる。
That was a lie. The number of chickens had halved since Shion fell into her fits of slumber. The cause was uncertain, but they'll probably be wiped out soon enough.
もう一度、目玉焼き作りたい。
散歩から戻ってきたら卵を産んでるか確認してこよう。
作ったら、寮に食べさせてあげる。
楽しみだな。
We walked through a quiet world, where even the cries of the chickens couldn't be heard. Like in the past, we walked this familiar path snuggled together. After walking for a while, suddenly and without warning, Shion's legs gave away from under her.
シオン、
大丈夫。
She kept her eyes forward as she tried to fix her posture. Oh, is this it? Her body was so slender that I worried she might get carried away by the wind. A thin trail of sweat was running down her cheek.
自分の足で歩きたいの。
Oh no, is this it? Shion held on to me as she concentrated on strengthening her knees, and although she seemed like she would stagger, she managed to stand.
どこへ行くんだ？
私の好きな場所へ。
The lake? The lake again? She nearly fell over many times, but she never flattered. She never once tried to turn back. Such a show of strength left me speechless. The world sprawled out boundlessly before the whispering girl. This may just as well be the top of the world for her. Oh! This place. Actually, I haven't seen this. That's that, huh? The hand which held my arm let go. She began to lean forward all on her own. I considered stopping her, but I just couldn't. I was positive she wanted to walk freely on her own 2
ここは
feet.
私たちの世界。私たちだけの世界。
She stood in the wind. Though she staggered, she ascended that gentle incline without falling.
見つけた。ここがそうなんだと思う。
なんだ？
見て、りょう。この綺麗な景色を。ここがきっと誰もが夢見た場所。ここがきっと私たちの楽園。
Eden. Alright. She said Eden. Wow. Yo, Stinky, what's good? The wind tousled her along freshly brushed hair. I gazed at her face for a while and nodded.
そうだな。
You're right on time, buddy.
この星に残された
You're
最後
right
の
on
楽園だ。
time. Shion is falling apart. She's reaching her end. Shion walked a little further. I followed her side by side. Not to support her if she should fall. I just wanted to walk beside her.
りょうは
なんだ？
りょうは私が望むことを言わなくても分かってくれてる。
なんとなくだ。
愛の力？
そういうことにしてもいいが。
お、りょうらしくない反応。
つまらないか？
うんうん、面白い。
Shion stopped in place and smiled happily.
座ろう、りょう。
あ。
Returning that smile, I sat down beside her.
疲れたか？
ちょっと疲れた。
Alright, guys. Let's brace ourselves.
でも自分の足で歩いてこられたから。
They dragged it so
りょうが
much.
いたからだけど。
俺は大したことはしてないさ。君が頑張ったんだ。
りょうも私を甘やかしすぎだと思う。
シオンはもっと甘えてもいい。
本当に？もっといっぱいわがまま言って甘えてもいいの？
もちろんだ。
You can depend upon me as much as you want. You can get mad and say the most irrational things if you want. Anything is fine by me, as long as I can hear your voice.
でもいい。
なぜ？
もうりょうにはたくさんのものをもらったから。
She looked up towards the heavens. Only the sun, white clouds, and a red shining star sat in the wide open sky. There were no birds to be
この
seen.
世界は綺麗。あの真っ赤な星も私は綺麗だと思うの。
不吉の星だとか言われても、あの星には罪はないからな。
赤い星は破滅の予兆として現れた。だったら世界が終わった後はどうなると思う？
どうなるって、別に変わらないだろう。宇宙のどこかで輝き続けてるだけだろう。
そう。何も変わらないの。私たちの星が消えても、それでも人々は生きようとする。自分の可能性を未来に残そうとする。
旅立った連中は今頃どこにいるんだろうな。
遠く。もうずっと遠くに行ってしまった。
ま、邪魔者がいなくなったおかげで俺たちは二人きりでいられるんだけどな。
たくさんキスもできたし。
そんなこと言わなくてもいいだろ。
Shion smiled, amused at my embarrassment.
私には大事なこと。一生ありえないと思っていたもの。私が恋をするなんて思いもしなかったし、エリカ以外の誰かと二人っきりの時間を過ごすなんて考えたこともなかった。でも、私は恋をしてる。あなたと二人でずっと一緒。こんなに幸せなことは。
俺も同じだ、シオン。君がいることが俺の幸せになった。あの赤い星はどこか気味が悪かったけど、今は綺麗だと思える。シオンの目と同じ色をしているからかもしれない。
ありがとう。
I no longer needed anything. I believed that I no longer needed anything but Shion. Her soft body and gentle touch. They made me feel at peace. We spent a short time in silence, and then the sun began to set. Shion, who had been dozing away, woke up.
私寝てた？
いや、1時間も経ってないと思う。
そう。
Shion squinted her eyes at the orange-dyed scenery.
真っ赤。
もうすぐ夜だな。風も冷たくなってきたし。
もう少しここにいたい。
あ、いいよ。眠くなったら寝ても構わない。ちゃんと家まで運ぶから。
ありがとう。でもその必要はなさそう。
どういうことだ？
Was she planning to walk all the way back too? That seemed a little much given her condition.
そろそろ行かなくちゃいけないみたい。
Darn, I thought not like
もう
this.
すぐ眠りが
Not like this.
深い眠りが。
そうか。
I knew what she was trying to say without hearing anymore. She must have known. After all, nobody knows you better than yourself.
ごめん。りょうを一人にしていくことになる。
君との約束は必ず守る。俺はそのためにここにいるんだから。
With great difficulty, that was all I could say. Shion smiled slightly and retrieved a small box from her
持
pocket.
ってきていたのか。
なんとなく予感があったから。
これも一緒に。
Shion silently nodded and handed me the box. I accepted it and nodded back.
ありがとう、りょう。本当にありがとう。
Sorry and thank you yet again. But those weren't the words I wanted to hear. That sad smile wasn't what I wanted to see.
もうこれ以上話すことが。
何でもいいから話してくれ。もっと声を聞かせてくれ。
りょう、私も
Tears started to trickle down her cheeks.
私ももっとりょうと話していたい。夢なんて見たくない。りょうと一緒がいい。誰もいなくていい。りょうがいればいい。
Tears poured from her eyes and would not stop. There was nothing I could do. Nothing but wipe her tears for
これ
her.
で最後なんて。いや、
俺はここにいる。シオンもまだここにいるじゃないか。
ずっとりょうの隣にいたかった。
Her voice was but a whisper, but drifted into the wind. It was as though it was never there in the first place. Everything was vanishing with the sunset.
目玉焼き作れなくてごめん。わがままに付き合わせてごめん。最後までそばにいられなくて。
いいんだ。いいんだよ。シオン。
Every time I heard her quivering voice, it felt like a pierce of my heart was breaking. A fissure was forming little by little within my chest as her radiance left her. Even so, I showed her a smile.
俺はそばにいるよ。ずっとシオンのそばに。
私も私の心は決してりょうから離れない。ずっとりょうのそばにいるから。
ああ。
Yes, there was nothing to apologize for. Our time together in this Eden would continue forever.
もしももう一度目覚めたら二人で一緒に
And she never finished. Fuck, she never finished her word, didn't she? At that moment, her voice fell silent. With words still left unsaid, her lips never moved again. Her head laid upon my shoulders, her eyelids shut, and a slight smile on her face. I sat there with my arm around her, unable to move. I wanted to leave this girl who had fallen into her long, deep sleep be. This was enough. This had to be enough. I was able to stay by her side until the moment she fell into her final sleep. Elika may not have been able to be here, but Shion wasn't alone. She couldn't possibly have been lonely. This smile was proof. It was why I was here. The answer to what I'd always yearned for, sought after, and wished for was right here. Because of that, I had but one last thing to say to her. One last wish for her.
おやすみ、シオン。
Damn. I looked up at the sky and squinted at the sun's radiance. The mountain was peaceful as ever, with no chirps from the birds or cries from the insects. There was only a gentle breeze blowing past me. A huge hole was spread before my feet. It wasn't very deep, but it should be large enough. I began to dig as I waited for morning, all to keep my promise to her. The hole I dug while reminiscing about our time together had gotten a little bigger than necessary. Alright.
やっぱりここがいいよな。
Yeah, I guess Ryou did it. I asked Shion, who laid on the grass beside me. Naturally, she didn't answer. But I knew that was alright.
ここは見晴らしもいいし、いい風も吹いてる。何より君の好きな場所だからな。
I wiped my mud, covered, cracked, and bloodstained hands off on the cuffs of my clothes. Alright. Flashback is over. We're finally here. I could go to the lake and wash them off, but right now, I don't want to leave Shion's side.
まだ少し汚れてるけど、許してくれよ。
After warning her, I reached down under her back and beneath her legs. Gently, I lifted her up into my arms. Almost light as a feather. Has she really been this light? I slowly moved Shion's body, who looked as though she was only sleeping, and courteously laid her down in the hole. It really was too big for her tiny frame.
でも心配しなくていい。きちんと埋めるから。
I picked up the small box I had set aside which held Elika's lock of
君
hair.
の姉さんもここにいるからな。
I retrieved a lock of hair from the box and placed it in her hands, joined upon her chest. With this, Shion and Elika could be together forever. Now, there was only one thing left to be done. I had to cover her. Then it would be complete. The ritual will be over. I would be able to draw to a close the life of the girl who saved all of mankind. the end of the life of an ordinary girl, and the final love story of this planet. I carefully heaved the soil with both of my hands as though offering it to the heavens, and cast it upon Shion's feet. That sounded a bit rough, buddy. My heart let out a shriek, as if someone was shouting for me to stop. Would I really bury her? This beautiful girl who could only smile. I didn't stop my hands. Each handful of soil I lifted was cast upon her body. She was being buried little by little. The screams wouldn't stop. It felt like something was crawling up the back of my throat. My palm wouldn't stop shaking as I reached for another handful.
Shion.
Each and every time I added a little soil. The girl in my memory smiled. I always thought she didn't smile much, but now all I could remember was her smiling. Had I lived up to that smile? Was I able to treat her kindly? Those unanswerable questions spun around in my mind. God, in the meantime, Shion's form slowly disappeared into the dirt. The process of burying her was far easier than digging, and before I knew it, she was nearly covered.
約束だからな。
This would put an end to it. No, this would prove it had already ended. It was something I had to do for both her sake and my own. I slowly piled on the dirt. Her smiling face was now completely buried under the soil. I finally crushed the remaining dirt held in my hand and stood. There was no need for the tombstone on Shion's grave. Her grand exploit would surely be carved into the history of mankind, and I would never forget that she was sleeping here. That was why this would be enough.
静かだな。
Wow, this is the first shot we had of him, like, actually focused. Come to think of it, the end of the world was near, wasn't it? There was no telling when it would come, but Shion's final hours had not been cut short. Whenever the end might come, I no longer cared. I feared nothing. It was sad, but I was able to see her through her final moments, so I had no regrets. But...
シオン、俺はもう少しだけ生きてみるよ。寂しくはないだろう。そっちにはエリカもいるしな。俺は諦めが悪いから、もしかしたら長く待たせるかもしれない。その時は許してくれ。でもいつか必ず会いに行くから。
The wind blew and brushed against my cheeks. For some reason, I had a feeling that she was smiling at me.
とりあえず家に帰るよ。また明日来るから。明日は花を持ってくるからな。
I turned around and walked down the hill. There was no longer a need to match Shion's stride, yet my gait was slow and steady. A gentle breeze blew against me. There was no need to rush. I could enjoy the scenery, and I walked back to the home we shared, the home filled with memories of her.
俺は一人で歩いていく。 かすかに吹く風の中に彼女はもういない。だけど俺の中に彼女の思いは生きている。この楽園が消える日が訪れても決して失われることはない。それは永遠に輝き続けるだろう。そう、まるで星のように。
大丈夫。ちゃんと取材は済ませてよ。わかってるって。おじさんもそろそろ私を信用してよ。最後の船の出港きちんと記事にするから。例の取材のことだね。
Damn, Maya was a
今
fucking hottie.
情報を出すのは難しいと思う。きちんとした手順を踏まないとゲリラ的にやっても潰されちゃうんじゃないかな。でも私は諦めないよ。あの記事は絶対に発表するんだから。私は遠くにいる彼
Best
女
girl
と
is
彼の
Elika,
向
but
け
Maya
たつもりで
definitely
微
comes in
笑みを
second.
浮かべる。
Maya was
あの
great.
二人のためにも必ずやり遂げてみせる。それがこの船に乗っている私の使命でもあると思うから。ふと窓の外の真っ暗な空間に目を向ける。
Lobby!
あいつは
Fuck you for killing Elika!
取り戻したのよね。
I still don't forgive you.
長い戦場暮らしで失ったものをもう一度手に入れるために、あの男はあの星に残ったのだ。そして失ったもの以上の大切な何かを手に入れたに違いない。そうだ、仕事が終わったらあいつにもメールを書いてみよう。
I
決
don't know
して
how it would
届く
work.
はずもないけど書いてみるだけでもいい。とりあえず最初に聞いてみたいことは決まっている。ねえ春名亮、そっちはどう？
Oh, that's
家
it.
に帰り着くと
Alright, that's
一
it.
つ驚くことがあった。
That's it.
元気を取り戻した鶏が数羽いて卵を産んでいたのだ。保存食はまだ十分にあるし、飢え死にすることだけはなさそうだ。
That's it.
とりあえず飯にするか。こんな状況になってものんびり食事しているなんて、人から見ればバカみたいに見えるだろうか。だがまだ終わりではないのだから諦める必要は何もない。俺は大切なものを守る。そして最後の時までそばに寄り添い続ける。彼女に対してそうしたように、俺は世界を見送る者として生き続けよう。俺にとっては船に乗り込んで新天地へ向かうことよりもずっと価値のあることだったんだ。さて行こうか。普段と同じように畑の手入れに行くのだ。俺は一歩一歩確かめるように歩き始める。これからもこの世界で生きていき、ずっと願い祈り続ける。この楽園に眠る魂が、シオンが安らかに眠れるように。なあシオン、知ってるか？俺は君の笑顔が好きだった。寝ぼけた目が、
They never did fuck,
怒っ
did
た
they?
声が、寂しそうな横顔が、遠くを見据えるまっすぐな瞳が、少し恥ずかしそうに浮かべた微笑みが、全部俺は好きだった。自由なんてなってもよかった。好き きな君がいればそれでよかった。ああ、君はきっと知っていてくれたよな。だから彼女は最後に笑ったのだろう。彼女があの笑顔をくれたからこそ俺は生きていける。もう一度言わせてくれ。おやすみ、シオン。
Sweet
そして
dreams, Shion.
ありがとう。
Sweet dreams. That will be Eden. Wow, it's over. What an... Yeah, that's that. Oh, well, I guess it's broken. Well, I guess I'm gonna do it here. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna just do it here then, since that's... it's broken there. Wow, that's it. It took me about 4 years to finally complete this game. And I finally saw the conclusion to this visual novel. How about it? How about it? For those of you guys right here, what are your thoughts? I mean, this was kind of a bit of a smaller audience this time around, but I guess it was nice and peaceful. So what now? Fuck, I don't know. I don't know. Shit, I was definitely not realizing to finish this, huh? I mean, fuck. I actually was not expecting to finish for the story to end like that. Oh, does that mean we can check out the memories tab? We can. We can play music, show movies, snaps, see all the CGs. We got all the CGs. Yeah. That's it. What? Wait, what's this? What's this? What's that? Wait, what the fuck is that? Huh? This is... What? Wait, what's the difference? This is Eden snaps. Did I play the wrong game? PLUS+MOSAIC? PLUS+MOSAIC snaps. Wait. PLUS+MOSAIC snaps. What are these?